There's a town that lies nestled deep in the Appalachian Mountains in the great American state of Pennsylvania. The name of the town is White Ash. With a town charter dating back to 1714, it's one of the oldest towns in the country. And as you can tell from how hard those smokestacks are puffing, it's also one of the coldest. Thankfully, the people of White Ash have a secret that's dark and very deep. A secret to keeping warm, bituminous coal. From bituminous coal as a product ingredient comes heat, power, transportation, and necessities and luxuries almost beyond count. And where, you might ask, does all that coal come from? The answer is places like Alden Mountain and towns just like White Ash, where it's dug from the mountains by the hardest working men in America, our coal miners. But while an industry supports the town supports the industry. Here are two of White Ash's finest young entrepreneurs, Catlin and Kyle, owners of the Double K gas station. Coming or going, they'll get you there. But a town can't be all work and no play. Hello, Alec. Hello, Lillian. Where are you two kids going? Why, they're going to Sif's. Don't let its Nordic theme fool you. The most popular place in every American town is the local diner, and Sif's is no exception. Home to the world-famous Stack Attack, Sif's have been filling the bellies of White Ashians since 1895. Yes, White Ash, founded by men who came from the four corners of the earth, bringing with them innovation, can-do spirit, and dark, dark secrets.
Oh, sorry. Ice cream. Ice cream for a reason. This is Talking Shop. I am Kyle, and we have some people here with us who are fans of the ice cream. And so we're going to bring them on. First, the most important one, Drena Joe, who is the boss of everyone. Was a very polite and what was that? Royal wave. And then we have our new friend, Casual Sunday Dirk. So,
hi, everybody. Gina Joe, do you have ice cream? There, all right.
If you have ice cream in your house, go get it.
Yes.
That's what this show is. We're going to eat ice cream.
Yes, it's an ice cream party.
Yes. So I'm gonna explain the Scott James.
Yeah. He's the pain in my ass.
I'm not here to talk about pain. I'm here to talk about pleasure and celebration and happiness and ice cream.
You know, and Scott James is a part of why we're here to celebrate.
True.
Scott.
Yes, get some ice cream, Scott. Send me a Facebook message. Maybe we'll have you come on and we'll do an ice cream toast at the end. We'll do something. So we're here to celebrate. We've spent a lot of time talking about ice cream and not a lot of time about what we're celebrating. So Drena edited and Dirk made a hash of a great comic book that just finished its Kickstarter. And that was Butts and Seats. So I don't even know where to start. I just want to eat my ice cream. I mean, this is really the problem, right?
I brought a bowl here. I'm being very savage. I apologize. Let me put my ice cream.
I don't have, I had to go buy ice cream implements. What's up, Don? Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Don Wen, congratulate everyone. Anyhow, so tell everybody what Butts and Seats is. And why don't you do it, Drena?
Thank you, because I'm eating.
Well, because everybody's heard Dirk talk about it.
That's true.
But he's also been practicing it. I haven't been practicing it.
All right, Dirk, you tell it. Drena, you eat ice cream.
Thank you.
It must be nice to be the boss. Now I got to put on my ice cream. No, Butts and Seats is a biographical comic about the life in wrestling of Tony Schiavone, legendary wrestling announcer. He would scoff at the idea of being called legendary, but it's true. A lot of people say the voice of a lot of his childhood. And this was an anthology. We brought it to Source Point Press. Really cool book. It was orchestrated by Mike Dawkins. We had kind of an internal team working on the book. Myself, Drena Joe, Mike Dawkins, Dave Silva, Lori Shivani. Lois floated in here and there.
And Bug.
And Bug. Bug was always there. Bug was probably the MVP of the whole campaign. Tony's Chihuahua. But it's about Tony Schiavone's life in wrestling. Anthology style approach, which started with 10 artists inside the book. And then Mariana Pescosta, Ringo Award nominated Mariana Pescosta, doing the cover, stretched through stretch goals, stretched through a truly, and this is not, I'm not trying to, play games here, truly unprecedentedly amazing campaign, far beyond our expectations. The book extended from having 10 artists, plus 11 with Mariana, and then 12 with Sean Burris doing colors, 13 if you include Justin Birch, to another 14 artists on top of that. So I've been saying about 24, 25 artists. Really, you're looking at about 27 or so different artists on this whole book. Absolutely amazing. We got to handpick everybody in the book. And it's just a mind-blowing campaign. And if people don't know what we're talking about, Kyle, I don't know if you want to talk about the campaign itself so that I can eat some of my ice cream now.
But first,
Wait, I put a big chunk of brownie in my mouth, dude.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So when Dirk told me he was doing this book, this was last year, I think I guessed.
It was last. You were one of the only people not in the immediate circle of people on the book that I talked to about it, and it was probably last March. So it was when we just started it. It was when we just started it.
Well, and I think you only told me because I walked up to you and said, "You're writing this, aren't you?" And you had ice cream.
And you had ice cream. You brought.
That's
ice cream.
fair. That's fair.
You brought Jenny's ice cream, which I know Don mentioned. Yes, Jenny's ice cream, the best ice cream.
But so, we started when the Kickstarter was coming together. We started planning out kind of how we were going to promote it and how I could help, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit of a selfish dude. I wanted to meet Tony, but we started talking about it, and I have this show on this network at this time, and so we're like, what if we had artists from the book on the show? And so we had Scott James and Jen Apple and DJ Kaufman and who am I forgetting?
Austin
McKinley, which now I feel bad about. Here on this show to talk about the book, before and then during the Kickstarter. And then we had Dirk and Tony on to talk about, for me to talk to Tony. And then also for Dirk to say stuff.
You were not the only one that tried to play that card. You were just one of the ones that was most transparent about
it. True.
Who am I? I'm not going to lie about it.
Well, no, we're friends. That's the difference, right? He's like, look, man, I want to talk to Tony. Like, fine. I even said, I don't know how many interviews we're going to get, but I will make sure that you get one of them.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So, but we started having artists on, and I started kind of plugging this thing. And then we had Dirk on, plugged the thing a little more, and it just kind of snowballed. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching. I was second to back the book. The person who beat me is on screen right now.
Not me.
Sorry.
So, but we had everybody on but Drena over the course of this thing. And she was on for a minute, I think. I don't remember.
No,
I may be confusing this and Haunted Highons, because I'll be honest, I just kind of black out when I'm talking to Dirk. The thing was, we kind of we're watching the numbers just fly by. It's 13 stretch goals in like an hour and a half or something. Like, it was ridiculous. Dirk is live 15 minutes after he started. Well, I guess we funded. Right. Yeah, we had Scott James on. We had like everybody. We're watching these numbers fly by and going, what do we do? And
And let me
it was
say,
really. Mhm.
if I may, sorry, full disclosure, because here's the thing, and you and I, again, Kyle, obviously go way back. I know there's people that will say this is all a gimmick. Like, oh, Dirk, doesn't think that, he says we're not going to get these stretch goals and it's going to be blown away when we get there. And we know that Drena is a person of high professional and personal integrity, so she can be backup on this. And Drena Joe,
Yes.
did we really anticipate getting to what we got to as fast as we did? Because you were there from the ground floor on this.
Right. I mean, when it came to the stretch goals, we had the ultimate 70,000, and that was what we were hoping and crossing our fingers for, and we were going to work our butts off to get it, kind of thing. And then, what was it? 3 days in, we were already
87 hours. We hit 70,000.
Yeah. So then we had to start all over.
And you can testify to the fact that we were panicking because we really thought we'd get to set. We were hoping, like the last couple of days, the last week, and again, our internal team. It was me, Tony, Drena Joe, Mike Dawkins, Dave Silva, and they can tell you. I mean, as captain of the ship guy has done this before. I said, look, friends, the last week, if we really hustle, we will be grinding towards that 70,000. Maybe we'll have an angel or two that'll really push us there, but we really got to. I mean, I was like the coach, like the captain of the ship. That was the game plan. Is that by the last week we'd get to 70,000? And as Drena was saying, and I'll let her carry on here with the story. When we got there in 84 hours, we were in a panic because we legitimately didn't know what to do. And then, of course, everyone starts throwing ideas together, and it was chaos, because we didn't know what to. We legitimately didn't know what to do.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
All right, Drena, you're editing the book.
Yes, sir.
And the call comes in. Hey, we're at 70. What do we do? What's your first thought?
Well, I was asleep, and I woke up to about I think 70 plus messages in our little text messaging.
Yeah, our message
thread. And that caused me to panic because anytime you get that many messages at once, somebody's died. So
It's
where
true.
do we go?
Well, then it was like the frenzy too of everyone has ideas for stretch goals.
Yeah, we all had something we wanted to be included in the very final stretch goal. So then it became, what do people want? Who cares what we want? What do you think everyone else will want? What do you think the crowd is going to want? And that's where we had to go for.
Yeah,
but we all wanted the pin. So we all got the pin.
Yeah, we all agreed that the pin would be cool. I had a different idea for the pin, but we obviously went with the Bat Shivani pin, which is really cool, But again, it's that's why there's this gap between the $70,000 goal and then us announcing the stretch goal, because
oh, that's right, we came up with an $85,000 stretch goal, and then before we could even upload it, we were at 87.
We hit it. Yeah, we hit it right off the bat. In the time we were getting it approved through our team and then taking it to Source Point.
Yeah.
Because the thing, we took this book to Source Point. I took the book to Source Point and said, hey, Mike Dawkins really helped put this deal together. And they took it to Source Point, of course, who wanted to do it. What up, Amanda?
Hi, Amanda.
And what happened was, by the time we went through the process of checking everything, we'd already passed that. So then I'm managing two camps. I'm managing three. I'm managing the internal team. I'm project manager on the book for Source Point. And then of course there's all the artists. So, they're all doing their things, stuff like that. And, we're all someone wants a pin, someone wants a this. So I'm not going to say the things that we didn't do because, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Right. I'm still
you still something. You got something. Everyone got something that they wanted when all was said and done. But that also means that everyone had things they didn't get as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we ended up one of the things we did, and this was Josh Warner at SourcePoint's idea, that like when you do a trade paperback book, right? You just open it up and you got the cover and you go. So this is like Buried But Not Dead. Open it up, cover, go, right? Now, if you look at the hardcover edition, what you can do is you can do this cool like inset art. It's like it probably doesn't come through very well on the camera, but it's like a hand kind of like coming out of the dirt a little bit. Then you get to the inside, right? So what Josh Warner said, he goes, hey, what if we get an artist to do like a really cool 2-page spread of art that would be exclusive to the hardcover? And I said, right on, man. What do you got in mind? And Travis and Josh and Jacob and I were talking and landed on Sean Daly. And I'm like, dude, Sean Daly from Ogres. He's like been on my life list of people I want to work with and things like that. So we got the idea for it, which the art is going to be every wrestler that cut a promo for the book is going to be in that 2-page spread, right? Which is going to be awesome. And I said, but if we're going to do this too, we should offer a bonus lithograph of it as well for free. So by the time we get Sean on board and everything's approved, we passed that stretch goal already. So I had to tell everybody, like, by the way, automatic stretch goal bonus. Because we can always set the rest of the tiers at that point. I said, you're automatically getting this, and we're going to keep going from here. So and we landed, and we had a $20,000 funding goal, which was legit. You know, we really hoped to land at 70 by the time it was all said and done. We really pushed, and we landed at 135,392 with 2,357 backers, and people still messaging when the campaign ended, wanting to get in on it. And it was like, sorry, it's done. You know, we're out. So
those people are going to learn how to use backer.
Well, and even then, it's like, I don't know if they'll be able to get the hardcover that way. You know, the hardcover, I think that we're tapping. That's it.
It was exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't mean to be honest, but
no, it is. You know, that's exactly right. You know, I mean, you can get the trade paperback. You know, but you had 30 days to get the hardcover, and now we're done.
So let me ask a question, and I want you both to kind of speak to this, because there's Don. I know Don Wen is here. I know Scott James is here. I bought Scott James right there. Boom. He bought one just to make sure he gets one.
Drena bought one. I bought one. Like I pledged to the campaign. I just want to get the big box of Dirk because I never get my own box. So I actually bought one on this too.
Give me everything.
I'm coming to the office and I'm packing the big box of Dirk for you.
Yeah, the give me everything box.
I'm just going to take your own books off your own shelves and then ship them to you.
No. Well, you know, it's like when you run it, you don't get that thrill of it because SourcePoint was running the campaign. Like if you're running your own Kickstarter, you can't pledge to your own campaign. You know, the system set up won't let you do it. But because it's running through SourcePoint, I was able to pledge for the campaign and get my own thing. So, but go ahead, your question, sir. I apologize. It's inside baseball.
Well, so you've done a great many successful Kickstarters at this point. Drena, you've edited a lot of books with him now.
Yeah.
Walk us through the process. What is it like? What are some tips you can give people who want to do Kickstarters? What are some tips you can give people who, you know, are trying to get ready for a Kickstarter? Like as an editor, what would you tell someone who's working on a book that they're going to take to crowdfunding? And then Dirk, what would you say as a person who's putting a book on crowdfunding? Hey, do this thing.
Yeah. Do you want to? Is this ladies first or who's going first here?
It's big picture first.
There it is.
Hi. I mean, for me, it has to be at least 3/4 done before you take it to Kickstarter. You want to know that you're going to be able to complete the book. And I really like a tight Kickstarter page. So I'm very particular about that too. Like I want to edit. I want to get in there, make sure it looks good, make sure everything is spelled properly, and then hand it over to Dirk. Go forth.
Oh, you're literally
looking at the thing.
Done.
Well, see, that's what she does through the editing process as well. Is we'll write it up, she'll clean it up, and then hand it back. No, it's funny. I haven't done the exact math yet, but I know we're getting closer and closer to. I will have after this campaign, I'm getting within striking distance of $500,000 on Kickstarter, which it's surreal to say, I mean, it's like, and that's not like some anthology I was in. No, it's like those are books I wrote, or campaigns I designed, and books I wrote. That's where we're at.
Dirk.
Which is nuts. It's insane, And again, I don't have the exact math yet, but I know we're getting pretty close to that. So
it's like $7, but he's blown it all out of proportion.
What's that?
It's like $7, but you've blown it all out of proportion.
Yeah. No.
Pat, I see you in there. Make sure you get some ice cream. We're having an ice cream toast at the end.
That's
Brainy.
right.
Brainy.
You punks. That's my
Get some.
Well, Brainy,
we're having
the party. I ate it already.
We're gonna have ice cream toast at the end. He's gonna unfriend you on Friendster.
That's fair. But as long as he keeps me on Plenty of Fish, we'll be fine. So, my point being to that is naturally, whenever I'm running a campaign like this, I have friends or strangers reach out, and it's like, hey, how do I run a Kickstarter? And the two of the biggest pieces of advice I give people up front is one, to crowdfund, you have to have a crowd. And of course, everyone says, well, I got a crowd. I got people that like my stuff, blah, blah, blah. I go, okay, cool. That's awesome. Two, you have to know how to activate your crowd. And what I mean by that is your crowd has to know what you're doing, and you have to offer them something that they will want to buy the book. And I'm going to call out Amanda here in the comments. Amanda is a perfect example of this. Amanda is not a wrestling fan, okay? But Amanda has read several of my books and enjoyed them. And even then, so she decided, I'm going to back the book. I like Dirk's work. If he's doing this book, I'm probably going to get a lot of good stuff out of this. Well, then, Amanda even said right here in the comments, she's normally a paperback person. And she has no, Amanda, I'm sorry you have no ice cream. I'm sorry. When we get back to Pittsburgh, we'll all do ice cream. So
grab a cereal instead, Amanda.
There you go. Right. Yeah. Cereal and put some milk in there. Sugar. And
she's like, no.
Kyle's going to get more ice cream. No. So, but then the other thing is, like in Amanda's case, and again, Amanda, I hope you don't mind me putting you on Front Street here, but you mentioned in the comments that I went ahead and decided to get the hardcover. Okay. Right. So,
just in case.
Well, because what we're doing is we're adding so much value to people getting the hardcover. So I think Amanda is a perfect example of this about how activating your crowd. Amanda and I are friends. Like I said, we've met a couple of times at shows. We have mutual friends. She's been very supportive of my work. I appreciate her. And then when I'm putting out a book that she's like, even when I first announced it, I remember saying, I'm not really a wrestling fan, but ultimately it was like, I like Dirk. I enjoy his work. I get a good value for my money. So I'm just going to go all in and buy this hardcover and get all this cool swag. But that's, to me, what Kickstarter is about. Is it's a way to reward the people that are supporting your work early. I think a lot of people look at Kickstarter as, well, this is what's going to pay my bills. And don't get me wrong, that's definitely part of it. We had to fund the creation of this book. We had 11 artists. Well, we had 10 primary artists on this book starting. We ended the book with over 24 artists. They need to get paid, and producing a hardcover costs money and all this stuff. So to me, though, you have to offer a good value to people. You have to have a crowd. And then you have to offer enough of a value to people and have enough of a good relationship with them professionally that they're gonna back what you're doing and join the party. So have a crowd, know how to activate the crowd. And for more tips on that, actually, probably next year,
I muted his microphone.
Thank you.
Here, you're welcome. Yeah, cover up, see. So next year, right around volume 2 will be coming out, and we'll be talking much more about such things. Especially if I hit that half a million mark officially by that point. So,
for those of you who didn't hear what he said because I muted his microphone, that's right or wrong. There's a whole bunch in there about how to do a Kickstarter.
there will no. See, you muted me, and now you're misleading people. There's not in this. There will be in volume 2. Volume 2.
Silverbacks. I'm just gonna pretend like that's a Steve Austin what?
Right.
No, I'm kidding. It's true. Dirk has done. I've seen Dirk do panels on Kickstarter. I've seen Dirk do, give talks on this kind of stuff. And that's always the first advice he gives is know your crowd, build your crowd, and then give your crowd something they want. Right. Give them something they can, get behind. So, speaking of things people want,
what up, Brian?
Let's talk about, because Silverbacks is here.
An artist in the book, one of the pinup artists.
Yeah. Let's talk about all of the stuff people get with this. Now that we're done, we can kind of say, okay, this is for sure what everybody gets.
Oh, man. This is the first campaign that we had so many stretch goals. I would have to go back and double check to make sure I got them all when I was listing them out. So you get a book plate, a Kickstarter exclusive book plate, kind of like we did in Buried But Not Dead, signed by me, signed by Tony Schiavone, and also autographed by the artist of the book plate, Josh Werner. So you get that with the hardcover. You get everyone automatically gets a digital PDF of the book for free. You get 10 bonus pinups. So like Brian Silverbacks is here in the chat. He's one of the guys that, is doing a pinup in the book. You get 10 chapter break pinups in there. Not pinup artists like sexy pinup, but they're like a chapter break, like cheesecake. A cheesecake tone.
Like splash pages.
Yeah. They're like a splash page. They're narrated and they're chapter breaks. Like Scoot McMahon's doing one. Brian Silverbacks, Grant Perkins, Jamie Madrox from Twisted is doing one. Just an amazing array of artists. So we unlocked that. We unlocked 4 bonus stories. That a bonus story with Bobby Heenan, illustrated by Len O'Grady. One with Chief Wahoo McDaniel by Mihaljo, who illustrated Claim. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name because I mangled his first. Based from Macedonia. Amazing artist in the book Claim from Source Point Press. We are doing one with It Sting with Ani Hanian, who is a very fantastic artist. And then Drena's personal favorite, the 4th bonus story is with Ric Flair, illustrated by Mike Watson. That one's Drena's favorite. She had a lot of fun editing that because, when you get a Ric Flair story, there's certain things that are never really going to start to happen.
How many woos did you have to correct the spelling on, Drena?
None.
You mean to tell me there wasn't one that actually came with a T or a P on the end?
I am positive.
This was more, her edits were more in the artistic, making sure we cover enough stuff that the book can be on bookshelves everywhere.
Yes.
In that story.
That's fair.
It was fair. That side. So that was just the first 2 rounds of stretch goals.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got
which is like the first day and a half.
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah, pretty much. So then we did the Kickstarter exclusive making of cover, or making of comic. So it's gonna be a bonus comic, like the making of that comes with the book. More to edit right now. Fair warning. The variant cover by Scott James, which is an homage to Captain America 193. This is Tony's favorite cover of all time, even though Tony's a Batman guy. He loves this cover, so Scott James did the art for the variant cover for that. And then originally what we were going to be doing is put some, and we still are going to put a little bit of enhancements on the cover, which took us to 70,000, which was our ultimate goal, which we thought we'd get to by the end of the campaign, which would be a gold belt, like Tony be holding a belt or something like that. So that was the
70
original plan.
And 70 would have put you at the top wrestling comic book on Kickstarter ever, right?
Correct. That would have been the championship edition. We would have been the highest funded wrestling comic of all time at that point. So what ended up happening was, in the meantime, while we were trying to figure out what stretch goals to get next, because we were just plowing through them, we did the 85,000, which was at that point. Sorry if we bored you, Drena Joe. I'm still going. This our list of stretch goals.
Katie, the belting out a song in the background.
So for the 85,000 that we ended up doing was we had the Sean Daly pinup in lithograph. Then the 100,000, we thought, okay, fine. This will be the top of it. The Bat Shivani enamel pin for free. Okay. We figured at that point, we'll be good. Spoiler, we were not good. We hit the 100,000. So at that point, again, we all kind of convinced, we all talked, and we all had different ideas of what to do. And I said, you know what? We got about 2 weeks or so left in the campaign at this point, or whatever it was. So I just said, hey, rather than piece them out, let's just do a monster 120 goal. Now, mind you, at this point, pretty much all the expensive pledges were gone. So we're talking about $45 to $85 pledges. But I said, let's do 120, which is another 20% on top of the 100,000 we've already done. And I said, if we do that, we're going to totally trick out the belt on the cover, make it a championship edition. It's like Nightmare Old Bible style stuff. We're going to put a gold ribbon in it. I want to do gold gilded pages, but price of gold gilding has gone up considerably since I did this years ago. So then we did 3 Kickstarter exclusive trading cards of Tony, of Lois, and of Bug. And I said, cool, man. Maybe we'll scratch to that by the end of this. It was not a guarantee in our eyes that we would get there. And lo and behold, we blew past that. And just to talk about how amazing everyone was that backed this campaign, at 1:00 this morning, when I finally stepped away from the computer, we were at 130,000 and change. We closed out at 135,392, which means we got about $5,000 in pledges between 1 a.m., maybe a little later than that actually, and noon. So
I texted you about 11:30, and went, "Hey, are you going live at noon?" And at 11:30, it was only like 32.
Yeah,
the last rush was just insane.
But like you said, we messaged the team, and I said, hey, let's give this a last push for the last couple hours. You know, Lori pushed it out on Tony's socials. We all pushed it out. I shared some of the videos one last time. And then the Sting video went up again and stuff like that. And yeah, and it was insane. I mean, it was literally like, you know, at the end you're hitting refresh. I could not compose myself to go live until about 5 hours later because I was just blown away. I didn't even message. I messaged everybody on the team right when it ended, and I messaged SourcePoint, and they put out a really nice tweet and stuff like that congratulating us. But my God, Kyle, you know, I'm trying to get choked up now. $135,000 campaign is amazing. The support everyone has shown this book, and the other thing, it's been such a positive process making this book, you know. And again, I'll defer to Drena on this, so you guys know I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's butt here. We had so much fun from beginning to end. We had so much fun doing this book. You know, maybe it was fun for us because then Drena had to keep us in line. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But I mean, I don't know, Drena. You can speak to that, I guess. But I thought we all had a blast doing this.
All right, boss.
Is it me that? Oh. Does that help?
You're here. Just say what you gotta say.
Are you echoing? Am I echoing?
No.
Oh, okay. I am for me. Okay.
You are, but it's because Dirk's not wearing headphones.
Okay. It was a lot of fun getting to learn how not just, well, I know how Dirk works. I've worked with him enough to know. But when someone as humble as Tony comes in and wants to talk about his stories, how completely humble he was about that. And then you have Mike Dawkins, who is such a genius anyway. But Tony would say, I don't know, Mike, when was that? And Mike would have the date, the website, basically the timestamp of when that particular thing had happened. And not because he's a lawyer, because he's an uber fan of wrestling and Tony, and because, of course, he's a lawyer. But Dirk, I just want to tell you congratulations, because you worked so hard on this book, and this is so deserved, and I'm really proud of you. So good job.
You're just trying to make me cry.
I am. I would love to see you cry.
No, thank you.
I'm not gonna lie. It's been every day for a year that we have worked on this book, and I don't think people realize the hours that someone like Dirk puts into this job. Like, I get to go to sleep. I go to bed and I'll wake up and he's still doing more stuff. He's still fielding phone calls. He's still arranging podcasts for people, lining up artists with colorists, and just endlessly working. So I appreciate it, Dirk.
So I muted Dirk to take away the echo.
Okay.
But I have a question. I've asked Dirk several times. Yes. Brainy says, I will echo that sentiment. Dirk, congratulations on the achievement. Pat says, I'm sorry you had to talk to Dork that much, Drena. But, and everyone else involved from Brainy. So let me ask this. I've asked Dirk about writing somebody else's stories. Tony is relaying you these stories through Zoom or whatever, and he's having to, kind of not transcribe, but take the stories and put them into the form that you need for a comic book. Then he sends it to you to edit, and this is somebody's story.
Mm-hmm.
So how much, as an editor, how much are you actually able to change? What does that feel like? What does that look like? What goes through your mind?
With this particular book, it was a totally different type of editing than what I would do with a normal comic book, except for when it comes to the art and all of that. That was the same kind of, you got to make sure Tony's hair is proper and it's the right color for that particular story. Got to make sure the facial hair is right. And if Tony doesn't like something, I get to be the bearer of bad news and tell the artist nicely, can we change this, please? And what that's like. I'm sure it's the back and forth that you can get with, feedback like that. But for the story, while Tony was telling the story, Dirk would be typing away, asking a million questions. And I had my own little book. And anytime Tony said something with like an inflection, I would write that down. And then I would write down the facial expression that Tony had at the moment. That way, when it came down to it, that was an important part of the story. And I needed that emphasized. And, Dirk and I talk on a daily basis. So we go back and forth. And I'll say, oh, remember when he said this about Uncle John? We need to make that what we zoom in on in that particular, frame, in that panel. And, things like that. But with a regular comic book, it's a different kind of thing because you can direct the story a different way, but you can't do that with somebody's real life.
So, one of the other books you work with Dirk on, and I'm going to let him sit in the background and listen to this one too, is Haunted Highons.
I like this. Is nice. This
right,
nice.
Which is right. Normally he does all the talking.
Right.
but haunted Highons is not necessarily somebody's real life, but they're real people.
Yes.
Or I'm sure Jamie and Paul would tell you real people, but they're, Madrox and Monoxide are people that people can meet and understand that the people in the book are the real people.
Yes.
Even if they did break the knob off at 20, like those guys turned that up to 20. That's why I love Twisted. There it is. Boom. So how is that different? Is it the same process of capturing mannerisms? Same process of capturing facial expressions, or how is it different doing Haunted Highons by comparison?
Well, okay, so Dirk has had a much longer history with the boys than I have. So he already had their tempo, their style, the way they walk, the way they talk. He knew it. For me, though, like, we all read volume 1, and we all know that Paul was taken in by the darkness. In volume 2, I thought it would be very important to have like at least one panel where Paul has kind of like PSTD from having gone through that. And Jamie and Paul agreed, Dirk agreed, we got it in there. So for a story like that, it's not them exactly. Obviously, they're not
right
shysters that are trying to screw everyone over or make a buck or whatever. But they're caricatures of them, and yet they are completely lovable, and you just want to be their friends, and that's who they are in real life. And so for that, it's also easy. The only trouble I have is the slang, the Midwestern slang, because I'll be like, what is a biscuit and a piece of chicken? What in the heck is that? What does that even mean? I was like, did you mean to write this? Because this makes no sense. And then you find out, oh, it's slang. So,
no, it wasn't. It wasn't chicken. It was in volume 2. It wasn't chicken and a biscuit. It was some sort of food joke that.
I think it was chicken and a biscuit.
It was. Oh my! I'm gonna have to go back and look at the script now. But yeah, because you tried to you kept trying to correct it.
Yes, I did.
And I'm like, no, this is what it is. And yeah, but it was like in the wrestle with Butts and Seats too. Sometimes we would talk about like a jabroni, for example, or something like that. And
it's like, did you just misspell Zamboni? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I mean, he had a conversation. I was at a Source Point press dinner, and he called somebody a jabroni. And I was like, what's a jabroni? And they went on an hour-long tangent about what a jabroni is and is not. So Tony wanted to name it I Jabroni. He wanted to name the book I Jabroni. And all I had was negative feelings about that word because of this tense dinner. It was the first time I met anybody at Source Point. So for me, it felt tense. But at the end of the day, it wasn't. They were just guys ribbing on each other. But that was my impression of the word. It's not a pleasant word. It's not a compliment.
Well, like Pat Koala is a jabroni. He's our guy. He's our friend.
He's like my favorite person on earth.
Don't lie.
I love Pat.
I love Pat too, but I still love him despite the fact that he is a big jabroni. But I remember that conversation, right? Because like a bunch of us were all talking about, oh, that jabroni, but jabroni can be.
But Pat, that's not true. I mean, nowadays, yes, I was an avid watcher of wrestling for 2 decades.
Right. But if you didn't watch it in a certain era, you never heard the word jabroni, but again, that's just one example. But yeah.
Or I asked my dad what it meant, and he told me to wash my mouth with soap. You go wash your mouth out, young lady. Don't ever say that word again. So.
But yeah, the fact that the Drena watched wrestling for 2 decades and stuff like that, but still sometimes there's like inside talk that she's obviously not as much of a wrestling geek as someone like I was or Dawkins. But then of course you got Tony. But I will also tell you to that point, and to your point, Drena, about not knowing some of the terms, I learned some stuff about wrestling etiquette, which I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah.
But I learned that, which we then all talked to the team about, some things that were really inside baseball. And Travis McIntyre, editor-in-chief at Source Point's a huge wrestling guy. And I had to tell him too, I'm like, it's really not proper to do X. And he's like, I never heard that. I'm like, I didn't either. I didn't know. But it's like, when you're in the culture, it's like one of those things.
And it was walking a fine line too. So we had to change a significant aspect of the book where we did not step on any toes.
And Tony was, again, Tony's such a good guy. He was so nice about it. He's like, there's this thing that, and I'm not going to say what the thing is, doesn't matter. But there's this thing that really, I'm going to get heat for that. And I thought he was just talking about they're going to bust his chops. And then I come to find out, no, like he would have got heat. Like people would have been unhappy if this one thing was portrayed in this way. When you're, to your point earlier, Kyle, when you're talking about this culture and you're talking about someone's life and you're talking about someone's profession, Drena being a fan of wrestling for 20 years, me being a fan of wrestling for, 40 years, whatever, whatever it is. And then, Travis and all these guys who are into wrestling, it was still a very welcome reminder. There's a difference between being a super fan and being in the industry.
Yep.
And it
so
was
comics as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's something I think a lot of people could probably learn in a lot of ways. There's a difference between watching it and studying it and appreciating it and then doing it and living it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, and it's funny because, and this is something that I would talk to Tony about in person a little more as opposed to like when we were live online with him. Every industry is like that, right? And it's you have a certain etiquette, you have a certain thing, and I was just having a conversation. I'd love to get his opinion on it with a buddy of mine who's a baseball announcer. The etiquette announcers have in baseball specifically is different than the etiquette announcers have in hockey or football or whatever. So it's one of those that's one of the things I'm most excited about with the book is that it's because it's Tony's story and because Tony was so actively involved, it's the depictions are going to be culture relevant, culturally appropriate for those things.
There was one, I don't want to put you on the spot, Drena. I don't know if you remember what it was. The chapter of the book that Josh Ross drew when he was in baseball, and he was talking about some sort of scorekeeping thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it. And I'd never heard of one of these things. It's like not a slide board. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember the name of it, but I'd never heard of it before. And I wrote down and again, because we were talking and I would, make notes and whatever. And when he sent the script back and we talked about it, he goes, no, it's not a scoreboard. I didn't have a scoreboard because I was going to have him like drawing like a little scoreboard. And it was this other thing. And he goes, let me show you. And he actually went back in his office and he had one from his and he goes, this. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, the hell is that thing? And he had to show how it works and things like that. And it was just, it was fascinating. And I love learning. I'm a guy that I love learning. But I'm not much of a sports guy outside of sports entertainment and UFC and martial arts. I'm not a big baseball guy, for example. No offense. That would teach their own. But to learn about that stuff was fascinating. It was really cool.
I have on my desk, I keep a dry erase board, which is a holdover from my days in baseball. Is I would have a dry erase, what looks like a score sheet that you would get, if you go to the ballpark and somebody hands you a score sheet. Mine was dry erase, and it had more categories and stuff, so I could actually keep stats so that live during the game I'd know batting averages and slugging percentage and all this kind of stuff. Well, it's just been a holdover. Every job I've ever had, I've had to have a dry erase board on my desk because otherwise I just start writing on my desk. And people look at me funny. It's one of those things is that it's going to be interesting to me to look at it from a cultural relevance of professional wrestling because there's so much like, most people know what getting heat is. Most people know what a shoot is. Most people know what a work is.
Right.
All that know what a job, know what a jobber is. Know
Yes.
that Pat's a jabroni.
Big jabroni.
Right. When somebody says know your role, they know that they're quoting The Rock. Like, but there's so much more to it. And that's what's going to be interesting to me. So now that this is done, which is wild to be like, okay, it's done. Let's move on to the next thing. What's the next thing that you guys have together?
Oh,
Well, Drena, you want to go first? Because I think one of the books you're working on with someone else is going to be the most immediate thing before we get into things we're working together next.
well, we're doing Haunted Highlands next, right?
Well, but you got the thing with Bob first, probably.
Broken Gargoyles too. Yeah.
Which is in previews now.
Right.
Yeah. We're still working away on that steadily, happily. Very happy with the book. Bob takes it to totally different heights in this volume. And then I'm working on a couple of titles I'm not allowed to talk about yet. And then Lab Brats with Dean and Ani. And he was somebody that I worked with on Get in the Game that we then continued our working relationship with after that. And then Erin Keepers, she just sent me a script about Nobody's Princess, which I love. It's hilarious. So I'm excited about that. But with Dirk, we have Haunted Highlands. We have Volume 5, the Omnibus, Hope, Volume 2. Am I missing? Oh, there's the one with Les Garner.
Yeah, Les Garner. I got something coming up, which we're not announcing yet.
No, sorry.
No, I mean, that's fine. No, I mean, I talk about Les and I are doing a book, but we haven't said what the book is. That's all.
Right.
So we're good.
I think the book should be called Less Dirk by Les Garner.
Les and I wanted to work together for years. So we're really, bringing Les into this book was so awesome for me. Because I wanted to work, Les and I have known each other for years. And we wanted to work together for years. And again, knowing that I was going to have 10 different artists to slot into this book, there was only 2 artists that I approached that couldn't do it or didn't want to do it. One of them got scooped by Todd McFarlane. Kevin Keane was originally in the book, and then he had to contact Travis. And he goes, guys, I have to back out, and I can't tell you why, but I promise you, I want to do this. I was excited to do this, but something has come up, and I have to give this my full attention. And Travis and I both were like, "Did you picked up by Marvel or something? Like what's going on here?" And it was Spawn. Like, okay, that yeah, no problem. And then I would have loved to have Kaylin Smith in the book, but she's not a wrestling fan, and this is just not her wheelhouse, and I respect that totally. But I would love to have her in the book. But other than that, all 24-5 with Mariana artists, it was like my dream team. I got to pick whoever I wanted to work with. Everyone was really down with it. Really, 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 really grateful about that. So that aside, I'm trying to go in order. We got Haunted Highlands 2, Re-5 in the Re-Omnibus, which is going to be Re-5 is illustrated by Austin McKinley, who's in this book. And then the Omnibus of Act 1, which is going to collect the first 4 volumes in one collection, both being now published by SourcePoint Press. We have Right or Wrong Volume 2 will be coming out next year, along with a reissue of Right or Wrong Volume 1 with about same book, but about 30% augmented content. So I'm super excited about that because like Right or Wrong Volume 1 is still a book that holds up. It's still a book people can buy and read and get a lot out of. But I went through and it's like, do I need to talk about message boards anymore? It's like,
right.
There's some stuff in there that we decided to update a little bit.
So we're against time all of a sudden. So we have a couple of things we need to do. One is our ice cream toast. I ran out of ice cream, so I will toast with Fruit Loops.
I will toast it in an empty carton.
I'll
toast the bowl I never used.
Yeah. Congratulations, guys. Real quick, Drena, where can people follow you on things?
Okay.
Drena Joe. Just find Drena Joe on social media and she will fix your work. And then DirkManning.com is where you can find Dirk Manning. I am Kyle. I'm on The Experience. You can follow me here. I love you guys. Thank you for being on the air. Congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
We will be back. Yes. We'll be back next week with this show, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Do you like ghost stories? I hope so. My name is Lawrence, a husband and a father. In life, I was a professor of religious literature and history. If I was still alive, I guess I'd still be all of those things. But I'm not. I'm dead. Like I said, ghost story. Believe me, I never imagined I'd be here, helping others heal in the afterlife. So where is here? This is the scene. It's the middle place where souls must confront the traumas of their past. Here I lead souls away from their demons that haunt them. I must also defend these lost souls from others who would prey on them. To do this, I use the power of the Staff of Truth to help them break free. It isn't easy. Clearly, they need help and hope, and that's where I come in. I am a guide of souls. I'm the shepherd.